You're listening to Oh My Health, There Is Hope podcast.
When your heart is aching and your world is shaking, don't give up. No, don't give up.
Hello and welcome to Oh My Health, There Is Hope, the podcast. I'm your host, Jana Short, and today we're back with one of my favorite guests, Cathy McKinnon. Cathy has been on a journey through cancer, infertility, divorce, and learning to be a single mom that has led her to realizing she was playing it safe. And in the end, she was just surviving, not thriving. The business side of things came to her after her own transformation. She was tired of going through the motions, which led her to a complete overhaul of her habits, routines, and mindset. And now she is the cover of Chicago Entrepreneurs in 2021. It was amazing. Congratulations. And most recently, the cover of Soeleish San Francisco Magazine. And I know I'm going to be seeing her everywhere because she is blowing it up. So welcome back to the show, Cathy.
Thank you, Jana. Always an honor and pleasure to chat with you. And yes, it's been a wild and crazy ride. And definitely not when I started this business, definitely didn't see it going this big, but we always have to recalibrate our vision, and that takes courage.
It does take courage, which brings me to what we're doing in this episode. Courage is the key. And I'm telling you guys, if you're afraid to do something, you're supposed to do it. Seriously.
And that's the hardest lesson, right? When we are fearful of something, we're questioning something, we're doubting something, there is a reason why. It's typically something we need to overcome, a limiting belief, a trauma that needs to heal. And once we can get past that hurdle, what is on the other side is so beautiful and so amazing. And I know I've felt that, right? I'm an introvert by nature. I'm an introvert. So when I started this business and putting myself out there and putting my story out there and my face showing up in places, it was very uncomfortable for me at first. And there's still times where it's uncomfortable for me or I get some anxiety going into something. But on the other side of that, there's been so many incredible opportunities. I've met so many incredible people. I have a network of invaluable connections that was only achieved by opening my mouth and putting myself out there. As terrifying as that was, I was very, very comfortable living quietly in the suburbs of Chicago, hiding, kind of nobody knew my name, nobody knew my story. And then I said, you know what, enough is enough, because I don't want others to go through what I went through, how I went through it. And I can not only help women heal along their journey, but I can help them collapse time around getting to their vision for their life. And there is no reason anyone has to struggle or suffer, because there are so many incredibly resourceful coaches, mentors, information out there that we need to help each other.
I know. And I by the way, I think most of the big people, big names out there that I work with are introverts. And so that phrase, paralyzed in fear, I hear it all the time. And I've been there. I have been frozen in place because of fear holding me back. And then something happens that pushed me out of that space. And you know what happens? I look back and I'm like, that really wasn't that bad. What was I so scared of that I literally could not move here? So what would you tell people? You are quickly becoming one of the world, literally, top coaches in your field. What would be some of the things for those people who are just standing there like, I want to, I hear you, I want it so bad, I can't move. I'm paralyzed with the fear of moving forward. What are some things that maybe they can do? Besides, by the way, you should all be working with coaches. I work with 3. Like everybody should be working with a coach. To get better, you have to do better from somebody else, right? You have to have someone put that mirror in your face. Cathy, you just gave me this beautiful quote and somebody said it to you. You're like, ooh, where'd you hear that? And they said to you?
It came from me. Apparently I said it and speaking to them and I didn't even realize it. And now I'm being quoted, which is kind of crazy in and of itself, especially for an introvert. But apparently there was this profound quote that I said to someone and it really moved her, and she remembers it now, and she actually has it printed on the outside of her planner, so she sees it every day. the quote is, you are one decision away from a more powerful you.
And that is a beautiful quote. And I'm just saying, like, coaches, like clients, tend to put that mirror up in our face.
Oh, yeah.
And we see like the beauty of what we have to offer others.
Yeah. And I've heard it a lot lately, being, January, people coming off New Year's resolutions and this and that. They have these big ideas, these big visions, these goals, right? And then they just get stuck. Well, I want this, I see this, I desire this, but they don't know how to move, right? Because it's change. Change is scary. Change for anyone can be scary, especially big change, especially if it's a complete 180 from what you're known for, where you're supposed to go, the traditional path, what people have told you. And you get caught up in well, what are people going to think? How are they going to see me if, I was an accountant crunching numbers, and now I'm going to do a complete 180 and I'm going to leave that behind, and I'm going to coach people and be an author. People might think, what is she doing? Right. And so when I think about, like you said, that what are some of the steps that people can take, right? Number one, it's like, you've got to start by defining your vision and success. Like, what does success mean to you? Because to everybody, it is so very different. And what is your vision? What are we trying to get to, right? We want a vision of what that destination is. You've got to start there. And then you've got to start with, what are some steps that I can get there? And they don't have to be massive, big steps. I think that's where people kind of think it's all or nothing. And it doesn't have to be. Like, you can take baby steps to get there that will compound over time. I started this business as a health coaching business strictly on physical health. And I thought that was going to be my niche, and that was where I was going to go. And it has completely expanded. Right. But I had to take those first steps of getting myself out there and establishing myself. And so take the baby steps. If you're not ready for the big, massive quantum leaps, take the baby steps. It doesn't matter how big or small the steps are, as long as you're taking steps, because it will compound. But whether it's a coach, whether it's a mentor, whether you're signing up for personal development courses, classes, whatever it might be, those are the things, to your point, Jana, that will help you collapse time. If you're ready for the bigger, bolder steps, putting yourselves in those scenarios, in those rooms, you will move a whole lot faster. The information, the integration, the networks, the resources is what truly helps make those bigger, bolder steps a whole lot easier, because you have accountability, you have support, you have people cheering you on that you didn't even realize existed, right? And when you have that, it's not as scary, because you can call somebody up, you can text somebody, you can, DM somebody and say, I'm feeling really anxious about this today. I'm about to launch my new branding. I'm feeling the butterflies. Help me feel supported. And when you have those connections and those people support you, that's when incredible things happen.
Cathy, there is a book I read twice a year, every year for the last 8 years, and it's called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. And by the way, I forgot to mention that Cathy is a 2-time international bestseller. So congratulations for that. But Jeff Olson's book is literally these massive winners. It's little stories in there about athletes that have not just succeeded, but are at the top 5% of that. Mm-hmm. And they call it the slight edge because it was those little slight movements that they made on a daily basis. It didn't seem like anything at the time that gave them the edge over all those others. And so when you went to college, do you remember walking as a young person on that campus? And for those of you who are no, you're going to be doctors or lawyers, and there's this long journey ahead of you, you're probably overwhelmed. I know my first day I was terrified, and I kept thinking, how will I ever do this? I'm never going to be able to do this. It's a lot. Yet they had a plan for me, and there was little steps. Go to class 1, go to class 2. Next year, go to class 1. There was this little teeny step. And before you know it, you are literally walking across the stage with your diploma, and you're like, I'm here. I did it. I was able to do it. So it's the little teeny steps. Don't look at the massive place you have to be. look at all the little steps in between and just do one, right?
Yeah.
Like that's
If you-
basically what you're saying.
Yeah, if you look at the whole staircase, you're going to get overwhelmed, right? If you look at the 3, 4, 5 steps in front of you, it's much easier to digest. But taking that first step, you got to have some courage. And it can be scary, it can be unnerving, it can be whatever it might be. But if you are determined to deliver that mission, the example you used, Jana, of the college degree, if you are determined to get that college degree, to graduate, you're gonna attend that first class. But same with your business, same with your life, right? If you want that vision, you desire that vision, that dream, that goal, if you want your life to play out a certain way, you've got to have the courage to take the first step. And when you get to the first step, then what is the second step? Because it's a continual evolution. You never get to this point where you're like, capped out, I'm good here.
One of the things I learned from you, Cathy, was from your beautiful story when we first met, and I carried this with me through all of the people I coach, and it honestly taught me a lot of breaking through that you probably don't even know. I probably should pay you for it. But one of the things I learned from you, hearing your story, is that I don't know if you noticed this, but whenever I do a show, I ask them to share their story of hope. Whenever I meet somebody, what is your story? Why are you here? Because I know there's your vision board, right? There's your dreams and goals. There's your manifestation thing that you've got going. But until you have something driving you that is a passion, that's become a mission statement, not just a vision, things change then. And when you told me your story, I remember getting goosebumps while you were saying it, because all that journey, the scariness, the things that you went through became this mission for you to help change that for others. Like you're changing the road that others are on. And I understood the difference between that. And so now I'm listening for those keywords with my clients, like, how is this a mission to them? What can I point back at them in that mirror where they see that this is more than just a vision? This is my mission, my purpose, my passion. And you taught that to me just by sharing your story when you told me why you wanted to do the things that you were doing.
Well, I'm glad it resonated. See, that's the thing, the power of voicing your story and your mission and utilizing that is you are impacting people you don't even realize you are impacting. People are watching, people are listening, and it is changing lives, whether or not you realize it. But the key word there is mission. And that's what changes things, right? Because we won't always be motivated. Every day you are not going to wake up and be like, I want to go to the gym today. No, there are days you're going to be tired, sore, just it's a busy day, you don't have time. But when you are dedicated to your mission, you find a way to get the things done. Because motivation won't always be there. Dedication has to be there to achieve it.
Once you get to that place too, you know what I noticed? I don't slide through smoothly. Things pop up every single day that I was not expecting, but they're not hard anymore. They're not like, how many times are you guys all in that business space, right? And something happens, someone says something negative about your product or the way you look or something, and you're crying, I quit, I'm done, I'm over this. I never have those moments anymore. And it's gotten difficult. I've never had those moments anymore. Everything is easy because it's no longer just a dream or a goal. It's my mission and my purpose. And I'm like, I can get through that. It's not that big a deal. And I find that I get through it with even more joy than I would have. Like, I'm not angry anymore when something goes wrong. I don't get frustrated. My last magazine released itself 2 weeks early because of a glitch they had.
I saw that. I was like,
and it was like, everything came to me all at once, and like 6 emails all at once that were supposed to scatter out over the month. And I was like, what just happened? But I'm like, okay, well, this is supposed to happen. Like the universe is telling me it needs to be out there. And it was a beautiful month. And I didn't freak out. I didn't get stressed. Normally, you guys don't know me. I'm really wound tight. Normally that would have happened. But when you have a mission instead of a purpose or a goal, it gets easy with those things. It's not as hard. I wasn't quitting because of that. I wasn't firing anyone. I didn't even yell. I'm like, it's okay. We'll make it work.
well, and that's the thing, right? You learn to roll with the punches. You learn that life is going to happen. Things are going to creep up, and you learn to adjust your energy to the things that really are deserving of that reaction versus things that in the big scheme of things, this is not a big deal. Let's roll with this. Let's make the best of this versus these are the things that really need all my energy to react to, right? I mean, you start to look at things and calibrate to things completely differently, and your reactions and your energy go accordingly.
So for this episode, we're finishing up her 4-part series with Courage is the Key. And I want you to tell me what you feel like that means to you and what they should be taking away from this whole series, but this last part of the series. So if you guys haven't listened to the whole series, you've got to go listen, and we're going to be bundling it up so you can listen to it all together because it's that powerful. But courage really is the key to making everything happen. We have to step out of our zone of fear and, be afraid. Maybe like I'm afraid still when I step out into my fear, but then it goes away. I hate to fly. You don't see me not going to Africa and Peru and Prague. And like, I get on a plane, nothing's holding me back from traveling. So you have to have that kind of passion about your business. Don't let it hold you back. But what is courage is a key? Like, what would you want us to take away from this last part of your series?
I would say absolutely. I mean, you have to be courageous with your life because you only get one, and it's so precious, and time is going to pass by regardless of what you do or you don't do. That, you can sit idly by and let time pass and not fulfill those dreams and goals and visions and travel to those amazing places and experience those things. Or you can have some courage and take the first step. And after the first step, trust me, as Jana and I have said, the second step becomes so much easier because you're like, well, I've already done that, so this is not as bad. And you start to calibrate. The medals behind me on my wall are a reminder to me. They were in a drawer for the longest time. And I said, I need to hang these up as a reminder to me that I can do hard things. I was not a runner in high school. I was not a runner in college. In fact, I said, I don't do running. But now I'm like, if I could do that, doing some of these hard things, like answering some questions, that's nothing. That's nothing compared to, running a race in heat, going over obstacles, doing these crazy things that I was doing. So you begin to readjust your standard on what is really challenging and fearful versus what is not. But you need at least a little bit of courage to take that first step.
By the way, in this day and age, you never have to take that step alone. You always can reach out to someone and say, hey, like, I really want to do this, but I'm terrified. Will you walk me through it? You never have to be alone. Find your best friend, get a coach, find somebody who will be that person for you that helps you walk through it and see that it's not so scared. I did not do this journey alone. I had people like Cathy. I had amazing people around me all the time that were encouraging me, leading me on, showing me, hey, I did that. I was scared too, but it wasn't that bad. So definitely start reaching out to other people. Cathy, if somebody wants to reach out to you right now and find out more about what you do, what kind of coach you are, where do they find you? And tell them a little bit about the kind of coaching you do.
Yeah, so I am most active on Instagram, and my Instagram handle is the Cathy McKinnon. I'm on there daily, so I'm very responsive to DMs on Instagram. So that is the top place. I'm on the other platforms, but not as active, so my response time might lag. But if you want to see some of my work, you want to see some of the day in the life, it's in the Instagram stories. That's the place to go and be and see me. As for my coaching, I'm taking the big courageous step myself, right? I'm rebranding, relaunching my business. I've took the big scary step and said, I'm going to expand. I'm going to go bigger. And so for 2022, there's all new coaching containers. I have my exponential experience, which is my one-on-one coaching container. It's for the woman who is ready to have someone walk alongside her as she creates and embodies the legacy that she wants to be known for. So that is the exponential experience. And then I have what is called Impact. It is a group mastermind where we collaborate, we connect, and we help each other rise. And we have group coaching sessions. So those are my two exciting things for 2022.
I love it. And by the way, by the time this is released, all of that branding should probably be already done, up and running. And you guys are going to have a beautiful experience. I highly recommend that you connect with this girl, follow her, start getting on board with her journey. I honestly have learned a lot from her. She didn't know that I was sneaking therapy through her. Through our calls. Cathy, thank you so much for being here. And we're going to have all of her links in the show notes. So you'll find her and go back to the past issues, or just send me a text or her a text. And as soon as this last one releases, we will send you those beautiful 4-part series where you can listen to them all together and catch up. So thank you so much, Cathy, for being with us today.
Thank you, Jana.
Thanks for listening to the Oh My Health, There Is Hope podcast. Make sure to visit Jana's website, bestholisticlife.com, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Google Play, or listen there, so you'll never miss an episode. While you're at it, if you found value in the show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes, or if you simply tell a friend about the show, that'll help too. Let's change the world together, one health expert at a time. Looking forward to seeing you next time.